And we are live. The boys back for 2025 UFC 311 this weekend, coming live from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California. Islam Makhachev, Arman Tsarukyan, one of two title fights are on the card as well, with Merab Dvalishvili defending his bantamweight title for the first time against the unbeaten Umar Nurmagomedov, and I'm Sam Bridges. And with me, as always, is the man, Joe Me the Money, Harrison. How are we doing, Joe?
Yeah, good, pal. Yeah, very excited for this one at the weekend. Obviously, it's the first one of the year. Was a bit of a lower name one, wasn't as many names to grab into. But we've got a main card here that is just full of names. The preliminaries got some good upcoming fighters that everyone's excited about. Some interesting fights. So yeah, couldn't be happier. Looking forward to this weekend. And how are you, Sam?
Yeah, good. Yeah, looking forward to it as well. Yeah, as you said, we've got an absolutely cracking main card. We mentioned the two title fights on there. We've also got Yuri Prochazka and Jamal Hill, two former light heavyweight champions, both most recently coming up short against Shama, Alex Pereira, Benil Dariush against the man of 2023, Renato Money Moicano, and an interesting battle at middleweight as well, as Kevin Holland faces Rena Derrida, who made his debut late last year in the UFC, a former one champion. As you said, Peyton Talbot, an exciting prospect, tops that prelim card, so it is absolutely stacked. This one, some exciting fights below that as well, which we'll get stuck into as we pick draft teams for this head-to-head. Joe, we ended 2024. We were neck and neck going into that final one, but I managed to pip you on the line. Built one of the greatest comebacks of all time, looking dead and buried earlier in the year, but managed to do it. And our stats were looking pretty good. I think I got another 5 out of 5 on that last card of the year. Yeah. I think you had 3 out of 5, something like that. But our stats, I think if we looked at the percentages, were pretty good in terms of picks from when we started this for the Manchester card, wasn't it? We started this all off, I think. So we've been doing the draft picks since then, and both have got a pretty solid record behind us. But on to 2025. What happens now? Do we start afresh? Are we starting from zero? Is it ground zero?
I'm happy to carry on, Sam. I want the comeback. You've made the big comeback. I wanna get my things and get back even, and obviously, hopefully, build up on this year. Like I said, I had a bit of an end. I had a lot going on. Wasn't quite nailed into the UFC pick, so I'm playing it on a bit of live. My missus is over from America. She's back, life settled, and I'm ready to nail 5 out of 5 this weekend, Sam. So let's carry on. Let's keep the scores going.
Oh, there we go. So some early excuses coming in for that performance at the end of the year. Is this Jamal Hill on the line? Here we go. Let's kick it off then. Our first fighter draft picks. We'll chuck it over to you for the usual rules meeting ahead of this one. Tell the listeners, viewers, what they can expect from the next 20-25 minutes or so.
Yeah, so we do a draft. We do a snake draft, if you know it. If you know your bit of NFL, NBA does it, where obviously we'll do one pick each, round one, another couple of picks each, round 2, round 3, and we do 5 rounds. At the end of it, we go head to head, obviously on the night, and we'll see who gets the most picks right. Obviously, you normally the smart man, which I've not done recently. You go odds heavy favourites first, and then obviously within round 4 or 5, you pick probably more the ones that you think. The longer punts, when obviously me and Sam would have picked the 6 or 7 top favourites on the card in the first 2 or 3 rounds. So yeah, a bit of obvious ones, and then a bit of ones where we think we might get some value. We like to talk about whether we think knockout, submission, all the bets in between, because obviously it was originally a betting show this Sam, so we'll chuck a few in as we talk about the fights. But yeah, nice and easy, 5 rounds, snake draft. Let's go.
Let's go. Indeed, ding ding round 1. As you come out as the unlucky loser for 2024, we'll let you go first, Joe.
I
First pick.
appreciate I appreciate that, and I guess for people who have been following the UFC in the last year or two quite closely, they'll know this name. For people who may be watching this at a big card for the first time, he's an upcoming prospect. I think he's the heaviest favourite of the night. He's from Dana White's Contender Series, and he's the preliminary headliner. His name's Peyton Talbot, and he's facing against Raoni Barcelos, like I said, in the prelim main event. He's only 26. He's been outstanding so far, coming off two KO wins, one TKO, one KO. He's had a submission win. He's never lost. He's 9-0. He is 4-0 in the UFC, and I think he gets it done here against Raoni Barcelos. They're touting him as a future champion. I think there's a finish. He's got a very well-rounded game, so I wouldn't be too comfortable picking the round or the submission or knockout. But I think I'm going to predict finish under 2.5 rounds, and I'm going to go Peyton Talbot. Put him in your rackers for the week. He's not going to, like you said, you're not going to get much value of him individually. But put him in your rackers. He'll boost the value under 2.5 rounds, and I think I'm starting off 1 in 5, so I'm nice and easy.
Yeah, that's the one, isn't it? On the card. Looking forward to seeing Peyton Talbot back in the octagon this weekend with his new look. The curly locks have long gone, haven't they? So yeah, we'll see a new look. Peyton Talbot making a step up this weekend. John, I'm going to come out swinging on this one. I'm going to go first round pick. Renato Moicano, money, facing Beneil Dariush this weekend. As I said at the top of the show, he was, one of the top guys of 2024, won 3 times, beat Drew Dober at the start of the year, stopped Jalen Turner in the second round at UFC 300. That early smashing ground and pound of Benoit Saint-Denis, causing that eye injury, a real nasty eye injury for the Frenchman in his hometown of Paris. Moicano walked away with the money once again. It was a top performance, and that fight was only going one way. Obviously, it's a bit of a quick turnaround, which seems to be his thing these days for Moicano. But coming up against Dariush, who wasn't active at all last year, took some time out. After a torrid 2023 where he was stopped early by Arman Tsarukyan. Just over a minute into that fight, he was finished. Lovely right hand, finished on the ground. Charles Oliveira beat him in the first round as well. Before that, obviously, Dariush had some good form. He was on an 8-fight winning streak. Mateusz Gamrot was his last win in October 2022. So obviously a good win then over Gamrot, but he'd beaten the likes of Tony Ferguson, Diego Ferreira, Scott Holtzman, Draco Klose on his run into title conversation. But I just look at Moicano and the way he's been fighting, particularly the last two, just the ferociousness that he has coming in there. He wants to finish fights. He wants to get the job done. He wants to win. And I just don't see that when I look in the eyes of Dariush this week. I just don't. I know it's his hometown in LA, but I think Moicano's coming out to get the job done again. So I'm coming out swinging for Renato Moicano. I think he gets this done. I think he can get the finish over Dariush as well. Maybe the time off will have benefited him, but both 35 years old, but both in contrasting form over the last couple of years. And I just think Moicano's just got too much of an upward curve for Dariush to halt it this weekend.
I'm with you since he started calling himself Money Moicano. He's been unbelievable, been really exciting. He's now a fan favourite. He was one of the unheralded UFC fighters that never got the love he deserved. Now he gets it in waves. If you watch the pre-fight press conference, Sammy, was the fans were cheering him. They love him, and I think, like you said, his momentum's all going forward. He wants a chance at the title fight. Dariush was on that, like you said, in 2022. Had a bad 2023. Doesn't look as couldn't agree more. Don't look as hungry. I think I like it. I think there's some stronger favourites on the card, Sam, but I do like it getting it in early because I would have definitely gone for him in round 2 or 3, but. As it's a snake draft, Sam and I got to pick first. It's back to you.
Yeah, I'm coming out for the ones I think are going to me finishes. I'm not looking at the odds this week. I'm
I like
overconfident. I'm overconfident. Chins in the air. I'm just coming out swinging. So it's my second round pick. I was looking forward to this original fight for this fighter. Bogdan Guskov was supposed to be fighting Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker's pulled out through injury, so I'm gonna still take Bogdan Guskov. He's facing Billy Elikana, who's been on the regional scene in the States. He's fought in the PFL a couple of times as well, but Guskov is a real swinger. He'll come out and look for the knockout here. He's on a 2-fight winning streak in the UFC. He's 2-1 overall. They chucked him in his debut with Volkan Ozdemir, which maybe showed how much they rated him. He gave him a little bit of early trouble, but Volkan's experience got the job done. They managed to catch him and then got the submission finish, the rear naked choke. But he's got a hell of an uppercut. Guskov comes out. He's really aggressive. He's got 2 stoppage wins since over Zach Porger and Ryan Spann last time out, which was in April. He's got back-to-back bonuses as well, performance of the night bonuses, 100K in his back pocket for those 2. And obviously he was supposed to get his opportunity at Johnny Walker, which I think would have been a hell of a fight between those 2, given what we see from Walker. Come forward aggressive. Walker leaves his chin in the air. Guskov can be hit as well, but I think he's going to get the job done here over this late notice opponent in Billy Elikana. Hopefully, maybe we'll see that fight with Johnny Walker down the line when he is back. But he did come out and say it was a bit of a serious injury that he had, Johnny Walker. We shall see. But Elikana, 29 years old. It's a real chucking opportunity for him. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, a couple of wins, like I said, in the PFL playoffs. Fought on the regional scene last time out, did get a knockout, has been beaten a couple of times before. I watched a couple of clips, and I think Guskov will come out and be able to get the job done here and still get a fight on this LA card and then move forward. And the UFC obviously fancy putting him with big opponents, as we saw by his debut. Fought Ryan Spann. He's probably doing it the right way now, taking the right steps up. Unlucky not to get the Walker fight this weekend, and yeah, we'll see him hopefully in with a good name next.
Like it, Sam. Yeah, I'm gonna rattle straight in mine. It's the flyweight division. It's the first fight of the night. Let's get an easy win, nice and early. And I'm going Tagir Ulanbekov. He's against Clayton Carpenter. Ulanbekov, he's only lost once inside the UFC to Tim Elliott, a very seasoned veteran fighter, very unorthodox, nasty man, Tim Elliott. And other than that, he's won 4, lost 1. He's beat Alan Nascimento that we've seen recently, just come off a face crank against Cody Durden in December. So that was a year ago. So it's not a year ago, a year and 2 years ago now, I believe. But obviously, December 16th, 2023, struggling with my ears now from the new year. Coming off there, he's not fought in a while. This is why he's so low down in the event. But I think he'll have too much for Clayton Carpenter. As you said, Cody Durden's been, again, another seasoned veteran of the UFC, someone that was quite hyped quite a few years ago. I think Tagir Ulanbekov wins this one fairly easily. The odds are in my favour. Again, chuck him with a heavy favourite accumulator. That's what I like to do. I've got Tagir. I've got my man Peyton Talbot, who I mentioned maybe 1 or 2 more later, but I think I call it a heavy favourites multiplier that I like to do. Just get your wins, cover your other fun bets that you like to do, because I think this one's in the bank, so I'm nice and easy to start off the night.
Like it, yeah, another solid pick there, yeah, with Ulanbekov. Go on, it's round 3, and it's back to you.
I like it, yeah. This is where I'll have my fun now. I've got my 2 heavy favourites out the way, because normally I'd have my fun and then try getting a favourite later. It's just not been working. I'm going to go. This is a risky one to pick this early because it's pretty close. Maybe odds are against it. I'm going Merab Dvalishvili, the champion, obviously co-main event of the evening. He's against Umar Nurmagomedov. I love Merab. You know what? fights might not be the most interesting, but you take him for everything else. You take him for fighting fans, saying stuff to him in the crowd. You take him for going crazy in a press conference. I said it's not the most. You're not watching Merab to have a Sean O'Malley type knockout, but you know what? He beats Sean. He beats Henry Cejudo. Beats Piotr Jan. Beats Aldo. He's obviously 18-4, but he's not lost. He's not lost in a long, long time. He's not lost since fighting Ricky Simon in 2018. He is the champion. Every time I've watched Amar, he's obviously 18-0. It does make me nervous, but I think he's only fought Corey Sandhagen. His last fight was Beskat Al-Makan, sorry, and then he's fought Raoni Barcelos, who was I've said is going to lose earlier on in the card. Other than that, he's just not fought anyone other than Corey Sandhagen, and it's a great matchup for Corey. This is not a great matchup for Omar. I think Merab's got too good wrestling, and that's a big thing to say when you're going against a Nurmagomedov. But I think Merab's got this one. I think he wins the grappling, and you know what? His stand-up's nothing flashy, but it's high effort, it's high energy, and it's just going to make you tired. I don't think you can compete with Merab in that fitness realm, in that let's just keep going, who's going to break first. I think Merab wins this one. Umar's a very, very good fighter, not been tested yet. It's a great test, but against the champion, not today, Sam. Well, not tomorrow, but I think I've got my man Merab winning this one.
Oof.
Yeah.
I've kind of sided with Merab as well a little bit this week. I like that. I don't know. There's always, isn't there, with the Nurmagomedovs and with Makhachev as well. You can kind of always see like, oh well, they've maybe, as Merab says, they've been given a leg up a little bit, but then when it comes to it, they always do have that jump in them, and they always just kind of get better and better as they go up, even if they don't have that kind of maybe slower progress up the rankings and do it the way that the likes of Merab has to do it. But I don't know, in that Sandhagen fight, the pace was a little slower, wasn't it? And Sandhagen, they were telling him in the corner, you need to speed it up, a bit more pace to it, and he kind of never really got that fully going. Whereas Merab's going to come at this terrain, he's going to come out the blocks really fast. So yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I'm a bit split on this one. In terms of, I was kind of looking at the kind of decision overs market on this one when I've been looking this week. So yeah, I'm not going to take you on that one. I'm going to leave you with Merab. My pick this round. Do you know what? I think I'm going to go. Which the opponent here, Kevin Holland, always makes me want to pick him because you hear him talk and then. You become a believer of Kevin Holland, but I always like Kevin Holland as a welterweight. I think he should be fighting at 170. I think he jumped back up to middleweight for the wrong reasons, and I think he should still be fighting there. Obviously, he lost a split decision to JDM, which prompted his move back up. I just think that he should still be knocking around that 170. There's some good fights for him down there, and I think we saw against Delidze last time out, stepping up to middleweight again, that against the bigger guys that I just don't think he can cope, especially against the grapplers. When he gets down, that he struggles to get back up, which is how he got that rib injury against Delidze. Delidze was holding him down for a good couple of minutes. He's tried to kind of maneuver to get back up and pop the rib, and then we kind of saw that in the back end of his middleweight run against Vittori, against Brunson, obviously the catch weight against Chimaev. When he fights the bigger guys, he struggles. And Reina Derrida, I know they've had this little confrontation on Embedded where he's sizing him up and he's saying he looks a bit skinny, but a Reina Derrida cutting weight is going to be a different prospect in the octagon on Saturday. And we saw against Meerschaert, he's strong. It was a bit of a sloppy performance in that first fight, but I kind of give him a little bit for that because he's fighting in his new weight class. He's traditionally a light heavyweight. He's fighting at middleweight. in the UFC. So I'm kind of giving him that one off, and this is the one where we see if René de Ridder's all that in the UFC against someone like Kevin Holland, who's going to come out, he's going to try and strike, but it's up to Ridder, as a grappler. He's got 4 subs in one championship, 1 in the UFC, obviously, against Mia Hart from his 7 in one championship. So he's got a good record. He is a good grappler, submission artist. He's the light heavyweight and the heavyweight champion over there. So I'm gonna back de Ridder just to be too strong in the grappling for Kevin Holland. I think there is that chance that Holland does land one on him. We know he's good in the stand up. He does have some good submissions, Holland, but I just think against the stronger guys, he does struggle. I'd like to see him go back down to 170. So until he's fighting at 170, I ain't picking Kevin Holland. So it may prove me wrong because I do like him. I do like the way he kind of talks to his opponents. But I'm de Ridder partying and drinking with the crowd after his press conference comments last night. He's going to be enjoying that. So yeah, I'm René de Ridder over Kevin Holland.
With you, yeah, no argument there, Sam. I like it. I think you're playing the smart move, man moving down and man moving up divisions with you all day. I think we've been burnt by Kevin Holland, and we've been proven right by Kevin Holland over the last 8 months of doing this show, or 6 months of doing this show, and we make the similar comment to with you. I think René is a great fighter, former champion at one UFC. I think he wants that run into the division, and he needs to impress here. So I think he's going to go for the finish against Kevin, who, when you take him in them deep waters, he's definitely finishable. Like I said, good jiu-jitsu, but if you wrestle him, he gets tired, and I think there's room to get the finish here. And I think, like I said, after he faced GM3, he didn't look too impressive. Got the finish. I think he's going to go for the finish again here, Sam.
Round 4?
Yeah, back to you.
And it is back to me. Do you know what? I don't know. There's some risky ones, isn't there? I don't know. Go on. I want to go for the main event. I'm going to go for Islam Makhachev defending his title for the 4th time against Arman Tsarukyan. I do like Arman. I think he is good and he is talented, but just like the championship grit of Makhachev. He knows how to get the job done. It wasn't the greatest performance against Dustin Poirier last time out, but still got the job done. That 5th round Darce choke, the beautiful trip that he had. Obviously, the 2 fights against Volk, he kind of had that first one with Volkanovski where, Volk had some great moments of success. But yeah, it's one of those guys that just finds a way to get it done. Obviously, he's got a good team behind him. He's good on the feet. Yeah, good in the grappling as well. That first fight with Arman, Arman put in a good performance. I've watched it back earlier this week, and it was one of those where Arman at short notice coming in for his debut, no pressure, putting in that big performance, and I think he could do something similar again. I think they're pretty well matched. Arman's got great grappling, he's decent on the feet as well, but I just think Makhachev's just got that little bit more when it comes to it. Looking back at that Charles Oliveira fight, again, it was another good performance by Tsarukyan, but Charles had some great moments in that fight in the first round, in the last kind of 30 seconds as well, where he had Arman with that submission locked in and could have won the fight if it had gone maybe a little bit longer. Split decision win there. And maybe if you're thinking, which I think that should have been a 5-round fight at UFC 300, and my just thing is, if that was 2 more rounds against Charles Oliveira, what would have happened? And I'd have probably at that point, as the way the fight played out, back Charles to go on and win that fight. So I just have those little couple of bits of doubt over Arman. I think he's talented enough to come in and do it, but I think if this one potentially going the distance again, Makhachev will get the nod. And I'm just a little bit more towards Makhachev. But saying that towards a decision, Makhachev's turned into a bit of a finisher, isn't he? I think he's finished something like 7 of his last 8 opponents. I think like the first fight with Volkanovski, is the only one of, so I think his last 7 or 8 fights that he hasn't finished. So he has turned into a bit of a finishing machine. You know, like I said, he knows how to get the job done in these big moments. It's going to be a pro Tsarukyan crowd with all the Armenians in LA, but I don't think that bothers Makhachev one bit, and I think he gets the job done.
Like it. Back to me. I'm going to pick a fun one in the prelims. If people are staying up, they'll probably be able to stay up for this one. I'm going Grant Dawson, a Wisconsinite, obviously where I went university. He's from Wisconsin, against Carlos Diego Ferreira. And he's gritty. He's everything you want in a fight. He gets KOs, sometimes get KO'd, but he's only lost twice in the UFC. One was a KO punch to Bobby Green, which is his one downfall. He's only 30. He's beat the likes of Demir's Magulov. He's beat Jared Gordon, beat Mark Madsen. Some names here that were hyped at one point. Obviously, I think Grant Dawson famously stopped the train on a lot of these. He isn't the most flashy fighter, but he's as they say, I feel cringy saying it, but he's got that dog in him. He's got that little fight. Diego Ferreira is 39 years old. I think he's coming to the end of his career. He's had a good run up to. He's just won the last 2 fights he's been in. But I think Grant Dawson's going to be too tough, wants it too much, and got age on his side here. It's the first fight of the preliminary card, so you'll be able to watch this. Won't be too late in your evening. Go get Grant Dawson to get the win here. I think one for your parlays, chuck him in, because I'm very, very confident he gets the win against Diego Ferreira here tonight, tomorrow night. Sam.
I like it. I quite like Ferrer, but yeah, I'm not going to take you on, even though it's not in my go anyway. But I ain't going to be doing that in my final pick.
And then, well, I think it's back to me for round 5. The final pick of the evening. Do I go main card? I probably do. Let's have some fun. You've took Derrida, you've took Moicano, I've took Marab, you've took Islam. So there's one. Do I go or do I go for the last fight, the light heavyweight fight that we've not covered yet? I don't know. We've not gone against each other once. We have to go against each other at one stage, haven't we, Sam? So I'm going to go the young man in terms of his. He's not too young anymore. Actually, he's 28, which in terms of fighting is pretty young. And I'm going for it. I'm going for a new champion. I'm going Armin Tsarukyan. He's going to upset the masses, like he said, with the pro Armenian crowd that they're predicting for tomorrow night. It hurts me to go against Makhachev, but I just like Armin. I like the way he fights. He fights angry. He's super athletic. Like you said, he's had some accusations his way with how good his body's looked the last couple of weeks in the photos. So won't get into that, but he's again beat Demir's Magulov, beat Joel Alvarez, beat Joachim Silva, beat Daniil Dariush, who was fighting lower down in the cards, and come off a very, very close fight against Charles, which could have gone either way. I don't know. There's something about Islam. He's an unbelievable. He's pound for pound number 1. But there's something about Islam. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Armin's got the age on his side. He's got the hunger. He looks ready. He's surging at the right times. It's going to be a great fight. Obviously, I believe they fought in Armin's first ever fight in the UFC, and it was fight of the night. It was a very close fight, one of the closest of Islam's career, other than when he lost with a lucky knockout loss. It was incredible, but that was in 2019. We're years later now. He's only lost one since, a controversial loss to Matthias Gamrot. Other than that, it's been all wins, all good wins, except for Charles, where it was a good fight, but you can give Charles Oliveira that one. I think Armin's got this. He's young, hungry. He's got the crowd on his side. Islam's achieved what Islam's achieved everything so far. To be fair to him, any doubters, he's done it all. So it does hurt me to go against him. But this arm, I just like him. I think he's got the personality. He's got the hunger. He's got the age. I think he's going to pull it off. I like them. They've already fought earlier. They know each other's game, and I think he's gonna win. And I think he's gonna shock the masses and beat the pound for pound. Number one, he's my fifth pick. He's not the bookies pick. He's not the smart pick. If I'm being safe, there's a Japanese fighter who is fighting very low down in the card, Rinya Nakamura. That if I'm being the smart man, I'm going to pick. And I might have just mentioned it there to ruin yours, Sam, but he would have been my pick. But you know what? I'm going against you. Arman Tsarukyan is going to beat Makhachev and become the new champion. No lightweight fighter has won 4 defenses in a row. That's not changing tomorrow, Sam. Come on, Arman.
Like it. Yeah, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be close. But yeah, we'll see. A head-to-head one for this card. Do you know what? There isn't going to be another head-to-head one. And I'm going to leave your Japanese pick on the floor. And I'm going to go for an underdog.
Wow.
At heavyweight in the prelims. Do you know what? I quite like Sergei Spivak to beat Jailton Almeida on this card. There's something about Spivak. He's a tough guy. He's been learning on the job in the UFC. Still only young, still only 29 for a heavyweight. He's had 12 fights in the UFC. He's won 8 of them, lost 4 of them. Submitted Marcin Tybura last time out in the first round with an armbar. He's from his 8 wins, he's got 3 by knockout, 3 by submission, and I think Almeida, who is coming off the back of a sub win as well, at times has just been a little laboured for me in the UFC. He beat Derek Lewis by this decision. He submitted the likes of Rosenstruik, but if you can get Rosenstruik down, that's just what happens at heavyweight. He lost to Curtis Blades in the second round. Blades stopped him there, and he's got some good wins on there. But I think Spivak is just strong, and he's very technical as well. And I think this is just, I don't know, I think it's just a bad opponent for him. He might be able to make it look easy, Almeida. I think the potential is there with him, but I don't know. I just think in this fight, someone like Spivak is very underrated. Apart from, let's say he's lost 4 in the UFC, but since 2020, he's only lost to Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. 2 of the top guys in the division. Gane when he was, in more form than we saw him last time out against Volkov. So I want to take a chance. I'm taking a chance. He's never been submitted. He's been knocked out a couple of times, Spivak. And there is potential that Almeida gets this done via decision, but I think Spivak's going to put in a real big performance here, and I think he can get it done. So I'm going Sergei Spivak to upset the odds against Jailton Almeida.
Is this one of the first cards we ever covered about a year ago, Sam? Derek Lewis versus Almeida. I've made that up.
Could have well been, mate. When did that fight? Derek Lewis fight was November. Yeah, November last year. Yeah, I think it might have been actually.
It might have been because I remember covering him a bit and going into it, and I just remember he obviously beat Derek Lewis, but he was very unimpressive. He didn't look, like you said, his energy wasn't there. He then lost to Curtis Blades, which I think we both predicted in UFC 299 since we watched the Lewis one and weren't too impressed when we covered it. Like you said, I think he beat Alexander Romanov, but yeah, I'm with you, Sam. I like the pick, to be honest with you. I'm sad to say it, but yeah, I like the pick, and I think Spivak's a great fighter. He's very athletic and, like I said, probably got enough energy for them heavyweights. He's only lost to the best of the best. He's like you said, he just beat Marcin Tybura, which is one of his early losses in the UFC. So he got that one back, and then his other 2 recent losses, Cyril Gane, Tom Aspinall, the top 2 in the UFC heavyweight division. So yeah, love the pick. And like I said, the fact if you're wanting an underdog, we picked a lot of favourites here, but if you're wanting an underdog, that's probably the best pick of the lot. So
there we go. That is the draft done, locked in for UFC 311. Let's run back through our teams. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
Yeah, I can go. My round one pick, I've gone the strong favourite. Like I said, add him to your accumulator, Peyton Talbot. My second round pick, I believe, was Tagir Ulanbekov, the first fight of the night. Then I went Merab Davashvili. Then I went Grant Dawson to beat Carlos Diego Ferreira. Obviously, Merab's against Umar. I think he's got that one in the bag. And then my last pick, I've gone against Sam for the fun of it. Like I said, if you're being the smart one and you've made it this far in the video, put your money on Rinya Nakamura. Strong, heavy favourite accumulator. I've got Tagir, Rinya, Peyton Talbot, and I'm going to go Merab and chuck it in an accumulator and have some fun and cover my other bets for the evening. But I went Arman Tsarukyan to go and create history and beat the Dagestani army and beat Islam Makhachev. I don't think he's breaking the record. He's an unbelievable fighter, but that record's there for a reason. He's young, he's hungry, and he's the most athletic lightweight, not of all time, but he's certainly up there and he's ready to go. And Arman's going to win behind his army this weekend.
My team, I went for Money Maikano to get us off to a flyer against Beneil Dariush. Obviously, Maikano, the form guy coming in, what he did to Saint-Denis in September, turning back around, and I think he can get the job done against Dariush. Guskov was my second pick, supposed to be fighting Johnny Walker. Walker is out. In steps a late replacement opponent who is decent, but Guskov, looks a powerful guy at light heavyweight, so I'm with him. Then I'm going Reina de Ridder to beat Kevin Holland. Holland struggling against the bigger guys at 185. Obviously, de Ridder, a former light heavyweight champ over at one, I think can get the job done here if he avoids the early onslaught from Holland. But I would like to see Holland back down at 170. Islam Makhachev was my fourth pick to retain his title against Arman Tsarukyan. And I'm going to go Sergei Spivak to upset Jailton Almeida as my bit of fun pick in the number 5 spot. Still only 29. He's 8-4 in the UFC. Has submissions. Has the grappling to go against Almeida. So I'm going to go for that one as the underdog pick. So there we go. That is our teams wrapped up. But Joe, before we go, there is one fight we have both not touched. And I can see why, because I was never going to touch it. You've not gone for it as well. I thought you might do it at one point there. But Yuri Prochazka against Jamal Hill, light heavyweight, both former champions, both had to vacate their titles through injury. Both slept by Alex Pereira. Prochazka twice, Hill once. What happens in this fight? Give us your pick and steer on this one.
It's a tough one. Obviously, like you said, Jamal Hill, good stand-up striker, a bit more orthodox, obviously, than Jiri. Only lost once to a crazy loss to Paul Craig, and then obviously, like you said, to Alex Pereira, his 2 losses, in the UFC. Great, got massive power in his hands, but Jiri, very injury-prone, very awkward, very unorthodox. I'm going to go Jamal Hill. My pick's going to be Jamal Hill. I like the more orthodox fighter. I think the fundamentals are going to get him through this one. Jiri, it's had some crazy, crazy highlights, but then he's had some lowlights as well. I think Jamal Hill's going to get through this. He wants that rematch against Alex Pereira that he said he wrongfully got done with the referee letting Pereira too close and all this. But I think Jamal gets through with this and tries to push for a rematch versus Alex Pereira.
Are we going bonus 6 rounds? I'll take Prochazka.
Oh, nice.
let's start 2025 with a bang. It's like Dana going 100K on the bonuses. We'll go for the 6th round pick. I'll take Yuri Prochazka. Then I think you can do it. I was a little bit torn on this one. If you were betting on this one, you'd kind of be looking probably all day at the fight not going the distance, or in the unders some way or the other. Both, I think the last time Prochazka went the distance was way back, way back there, and I don't think it's happened in the UFC. No, it hasn't. In his 6 UFC fights, he's never gone the distance. I think it's back to something like 2016, something ridiculous that the last time Yuri Prochazka fight saw the judges' scorecards. Hill has gone there a couple of times in the UFC, I think against Glover, and then one of his early fights as well went the distance before he found his groove in the UFC. So both these guys, knockout artists. So you're kind of looking at that as the way. And I just think, I don't know, when Prochazka has stepped back down, against Rakic, he got the job done. He was kind of a bit uncomfortable in that fight early doors, but he managed to get the job done. And he just looks in a good place for me, where I know what you're saying with Hill. He's angry and he wants that Pereira fight back. But the most relaxed guy in that arena on Saturday night will be Yuri Prochazka, and I think he can get the job done. He seems focused, seems in a good place. Hopefully, he's kind of worked on a couple of little bits. He's always unorthodox in the way he fights, in the way that he trains, and hopefully, he's just found a little bit more of an edge going into this one. But yeah, bonus 6th round. You have Hill, I'll have Yuri.
I like it. Yeah, let's go. So it's a great event. Like I said, we were moaning at the back end of last year. We've won some big name highlighted cards that didn't really have the depth. This has got the depth. It's got the interesting fights. It's got the upcoming fighters. It's what we were begging for. I'm excited for it. It's on record if I fall asleep, but I'm going to try to survive as long as I can. But yeah, so I will see you Sunday morning for the results, Sam.
You shall. Well, thanks very much for everybody that's tuned in across the lives on X, on YouTube, and on Facebook as well. I don't know what's going on there, but we'll end the stream there, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.